So on this next one, what we're going to do, how do I solve this? I've got 5 raised to the 6x minus 9 is equal to 125. Now, there's a way we could do it with logs, but we're not on that section yet. But I happen to notice that 5 to the third power is equal to 125. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to rewrite 125 to 5 to the third power. Okay? So rewrite 125 as 5 to the third. Now this process works sometimes, and this is a very common SAT problem, especially on the no calculator section, because it's really not that hard to solve. If we were to do this solving it with logs, because log is the inverse of an exponential, or there's properties of logs that allow us to pull this stuff here out of the powers and toss it to the front, you're gonna need a calculator to get a number value. But this is easy to solve without a calculator. So that's the first thing that we got to do. The second step is I'm just going to set this stuff equal to each other, right? Because that makes sense, right? If this is 5 to the third and something in here, 5 raised to something, and it has to be equal, then we can assume that 6x minus 9 has to equal 3. Otherwise, it wouldn't equal, right? So I'm going to use some fancy math words, but number 2 says that we would equate the exponent powers. In other words, we're going to set the powers equal to each other. Okay? So then the next step is now we're just going to solve this thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to solve for x. So I'm going to add 9 to both sides, right? Because that's the first thing that we're going to do. So we're going to note this. And you might think to yourself, why do I need to know this? Why do I need to write this down? You'll thank me later. To each side. And when you do that, you get 6x is equal to 3. Lastly, you're just going to divide by 6 on both sides. Okay, is that somebody in the Google Meet? Or is that somebody in the hallway? If either one of you said something, just type it in the chat, but I thought I heard somebody say Mr. Adams. That's probably somebody in the hallway. I got my door open. Okay, so back to the problem. So the 6's cancel in the front, and then I get x is 3 over 6, which reduces down to 1/2. And that's basically how you would solve that type of problem. And usually they're rigged up. In other words, this right here will be like some base raised to some weird power, but this should be the same base. So when you see this base here, you'll want to look and see if it matches this base. Okay? In other words, when I saw this 5, I said, wait a second, 5 to the third power equals 125. Okay, that's how I'll solve it.